Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Marshall County Board of Supervisors regular session today, Wednesday, June 21st, 9 a.m. here at the courthouse. Notice to the public, the Board of Supervisors welcomes comments from the public during the time allowed for discussion. You're requested to approach the podium right over here and use the microphone. State your name, address, and for the record, limit the time used to present your remarks in order that all have opportunity to speak. The normal process on any agenda is for the chair to read the item from the agenda. The board is given the opportunity to comment on the issue and/or place a motion on the floor. An opportunity for discussion may be presented at which time the public may participate, and a roll call vote will follow. With the attendance today, roll call, please.
Heil.
Here.
Slosik.
Present.
Hibbs.
Here.
Excellent. Would we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve our agenda today?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
I'll second.
A motion second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Heil.
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
Number 5, service awards. Eric Davig, 5 years, truck driver, 3 for secondary roads. I imagine he is not here today, or Paul, any words? No. All right.
We're happy to have the help, and we need more.
Excellent. Excellent. So for the record, he's great help, and they need more help, secondary roads. So if anyone interested in work with secondary roads, certainly reach out to our engineer, and we appreciate all that Eric has done for the past 5 years for Marshall County secondary roads. Any further comment?
I sat in front of Eric last night at a little girl's softball game. So,
Wonderful.
and he tolerated my height because I'm pretty tall. So.
Yeah.
So much. Any other comments? Excellent. On to number 6, the consent agenda. 6A, approve regular session minutes from June 7th, 2023. Approve claims as audited. 6C, file clerk of district court report dated May 2023. File manure management plan. Reinberg Sow Farm, MMP, short form, signed with changes. Personnel changes, county attorney, administrative assistant position change to victim witness coordinator. Approved status change for Rebecca Fleming, administrative assistant, pay $17 an hour to now the victim witness coordinator, pay of $23.32 per hour, effective June 26, 2023. Also, Marshall County Sheriff's Department jail promotions, approved status change. Daniel McCready, jailer, paid $21.01 per hour to jail supervisor 1, paid $23.30 per hour, effective July 1st, 2023. Also, approved status change. Caitlin Randall, jailer, pay $23.65 per hour to jail supervisor 1, pay $26.08 per hour, effective July 1st, 2023. And that concludes the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I would make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and second. Do we have any further discussion on these items in consent? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Heil.
Yes.
Slosik.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
Excellent. And thank you to the new hires and promotions. On to 6G, approved transfer of funds number 942 and 943. Transfer 942 is a quarterly transfer of no more than $700,000 from the Rural Services Fund to Secondary Road Fund, but not to exceed the maximum transfer yet to be above the minimum transfer amount required by Iowa Code 331-429B. Transfer 943, an annual transfer from lost revenue in the Rural Services Fund to the Secondary Road Fund in the amount of $680,317.13. This is an annual transfer that we typically do. Paul, is there anything you need to add on this? If so, come to the mic, please.
This is our local phone, sorry.
Paul Geilenfeld, County Engineer. This is our annual transfer for our local option sales tax eligible expenses for bridges and culverts. And so it's just the fiscal 2023 expenses for bridge, culvert, and design, and anything for bridge and culvert improvement.
Excellent. Any questions for Paul on this? All right, thank you, Paul. Do we have a motion to approve transfer funds of 942 and 943?
I'll make a motion that we approve transfer of funds 942 and 943.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion on this? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solosik?
Yes.
Phipps?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Number 7, approve participation in the Iowa Burn Justice Assistance Grant, the JAG program, grant number 20, JAG 44548, grant period of July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024, and authorize the chair to sign documentation. Joel, did you have anything to add on this one?
Joel Phillips, Sheriff. With this is our annual application for our Burn Jag grant. Our task force was successfully awarded the grant, the 75-25 match. The federal match is $82,000, and then our match would be $27,333, totaling $109,000 to fund our local task force. That also provides the funding for 1 supervisor from the Marsh County Sheriff's Office, and then 1 investigator from the Marshtown Police Department, and an investigator from the Tiamat County Sheriff's Office. I also provide an investigator out of my budget for the task force. So with that said, we're looking at maybe in December having another D&E agent funded by the state to participate in our task force, so we're looking forward to that. Our current one was reassigned to DEA as the task force officer. He's still in the area, still provides information, so we're really thankful for that. With the task force grant, there are 2 other micro grants that we've been approved for. One is the camp grant for the overtime for the methamphetamine overtime for officers. That's $6,000. We typically will use all of that. The other one is $11,000 for the heroin overdose investigation for officers for overtime. It's kind of a good and bad. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of heroin in our area for the overtime, so some of that will be going back to the state for reappropriation. For the most part, investigations are still ongoing. We're working more collaborative investigations with our state and federal partners. Right now, we're still on track to probably have around 100 pounds of methamphetamine seizures within our area. Marijuana continues to be a problem, along with our THC vape cartridges. For the most part, those are what we're seeing in our heroin overdoses. There's a few that they're actively investigating in our area. Typically, these would be tied to larger cities and towns that they work those joint operations, those joint investigations to kind of stop that before it gets to our community. So they've been doing fairly well. They've been working some late nights here lately, so they're on task.
Any questions for the sheriff?
No.
Thank you, Joel.
Any other further discussion or questions on this? All right, hearing none. Do we need a motion yet?
Yes, we do.
Excellent.
I'll make a motion and to approve the participation in the Iowa Burn Justice Assistant Grant, Program Grant number 20, JAG-44548, grant period of July 1, 2023 to June 30th of 2024, and authorize the chair to sign the documentation. Federal $82,000 plus match $27,333 and the 33 cents equals $109,333.33.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solosik?
Yes.
Phipps?
Yes.
Number 8, approval for the Iowa DOT detour agreement for work scheduled in the 2025 construction season. This looks like it's involving 2 miles of Wallace Avenue from Iowa 96 to Grundy County line. Paul, what do you have to share with us on this?
And this is a detour for, looks like 2025 construction season, so they're way ahead of their, of when it's actually gonna take place. But this is a detour we've used before. There's a bridge just, it's west of Conrad on Highway 14, so up into Grundy County. and it's gonna be replaced, and this is the detour that the DOT has used before when they work on 14. And like you said, it just involves 2 miles of county road, Marshall County, Wallace Avenue from Iowa Highway 86 up to the Grundy County line. There is they do follow state code as far as looking at the condition of the road, making sure that they will, after construction, they will compensate us or bring the road back to its pre-construction condition. And we've not had any trouble with that in the past, so I don't see any problems with this. The Wallace is in good shape. There is some wheel rutting on this 2 miles, but we were already planning on doing some maintenance work on that before 2025.
So Paul, that section will be cut off from, there will be no traffic then?
On Highway 14, no,
Oh, it's just on 14?
this is the detour.
Yeah.
of
This will be
Highway
the detour
14,
then, okay.
Coming on to, take 96 and then T29 up,
I've gotcha.
and it goes all the way up to 175 on T29.
We're just south of Beaman here, about 2 miles.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it's gonna go all the way to 175, the
Yes.
detour?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Did you get the map attachment on the? I'm not sure if they-
No.
that was-
No.
you can map if you'd like to. North is to the left. I know that's confusing on any map.
Yes, it is.
Ah, thank you, James.
Okay. Yeah, there we go.
You can kind of see where the bridge project is with the little red circle around the location there on the map.
Any other questions for Paul on this?
No.
Do we have a motion to approve?
I will make a motion to approve the Iowa DOT detour agreement for work scheduled in the 2025 construction season involving 2 miles of Wallace Avenue from Iowa 96 to the Grundy County line.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussions or comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
Right. On to number 9, authorization to approve the Audit Engagement Association letter and business associate agreement with, Maria, help me, is it Eid Bailey or Eid Bailey? Excellent. So, this is the Audit Engagement Association letter and the business associate agreement. We had approved the proposal with Eid Bailey back at our March 1st meeting for 3 years for $60,000. For first year, 64,300 year 2, and 68,600 year 3. Was there anything to add? I read through these. Was there anything to add on this? It's just the formalities of continuing on with the proposal we already approved. Excellent. And I do know they've been on site already and had their first initial meetings with us here, so.
They're gonna come back in the end of August, the beginning of August, I think.
Excellent.
Doing the audit, so.
Excellent. All right, any further questions, comments?
No, sir.
Entertain motions to authorize the approval?
My motion is to approve the Audit Engagement Association letter and business associate agreement with Eid Bailey and authorize the chair to sign.
I'll second that.
All right, we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kyle,
Yes.
Slosik,
Yes.
Hibbs,
Yes.
All right, now on to number 10, approval for the Marshall County Veteran Relocation Assistance Program. This is the relocation assistance funding of up to $2,000 per eligible veteran, up to $16,000 total for the first year of the program, running through June 30th, 2024. And the program applications received by Marshall County Veterans Affairs Director, and to be paid from the county's Budget Economic Development Fund line item following approval of Board of Supervisors. This is stuff we talked about in the last meeting. This just formalizes basically that. This is, we're a new home-based Iowa county. And so this is part of our initial incentive package that we can do for veterans to bring veterans here to Marshall County. Also that economic development of growing, getting more people here. So we're open for business for veterans, and we also have our local chamber is helping with different avenues as well for them to start business, different entrepreneurship, different package for them as well. Kevin, was there anything you wanted to share on this? Nope.
Kevin Usbo, Director of Veterans Affairs. Along with that, Home Base Iowa is going to be great. There's going to be a lot of growth. We're anticipating growth starting this fall. The relocation fees are going to be great. Per se, a veteran needs to go to IVH. The wife doesn't want to go there. They're living in southern Iowa. So the $2,000 will go toward their relocation. The chamber already has the $10,000 grant for purchasing another house. The entrepreneurship's going to be great. Working with Central Business District and everything in town, wanting to start businesses downtown, help the town grow. I'm anticipating a lot of growth with this. It's great to see Marshall County. The nice part is it ties up all the little outlying towns in Marshall County. So presently we have 7 counties of veterans coming to our office filing claims. And they're always looking and asking, and they're so great when they come into Marshalltown and see how beautiful it is. And now that the courthouse is getting to the final stages, and they just love the downtown, how it's getting renovated. So there's a lot of prosper and a lot of growth coming. I feel that really good for Marshall County and Marshall County veterans. And our crown jewel of Marshall County is the Iowa Veterans Hall. So we need to really capitalize on that.
Excellent. Any questions for Kevin?
I think to clarify, the $10,000 is for building a new home.
Building a new home,
In-
yeah,
in Marshall.
up to, I think it's over 180,000.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And then I think there's a $5,000 if you do go in and remodel through the chamber also.
Okay.
There's 2 different
All right.
criteria.
That doesn't involve the county at this point.
No,
so-
that doesn't, that's on the chamber.
Yep.
But hopefully, we're gonna have a meeting the 10th down in the new Hopkins building. They'll be in their new offices. And then we'll be moving forward, and websites and everything will be going out, so people can click on that and prosper from that.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Kevin.
Well, thank you for helping us out on this. We appreciate it, and we're excited to get this rolling.
I hate to leave early, but I got meetings this morning. across the-
That's all right. Thanks, Kevin. Any further discussion on this?
No.
All right.
I'll make a motion that we approve the Home Base Iowa program for Marshall County Veteran Relocation Assistance, funding up to $2,000 per eligible veteran, up to $16,000 total program expense through June 30th, 2024, with the program applications received by Marshall County Veterans Affairs Director to be paid from the county's budgeted Economic Development Fund following approval by the Board of Supervisors.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solaka?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
All right, on to number 11, the approval of the Animal Rescue League of Marshalltown, Iowa contract, and authorize the chair to sign. This was what we talked about in our last meeting as well. This finalizes that. I did get email confirmation from Rachel Buchanan at the Animal Rescue League, who was unable to attend today, but she said everything looks good in this. The main changes is in that first section of allowing there to be communication with the sheriff's office on making that call to Animal Rescue League, not just having to go through the board when it comes to those situations that they're needing a pickup from Animal Rescue League. This also on number 5 has us, we bumped up, it was $15 was the minimum for the mileage, or the minimum amount that we'd be paying per trip. From 15 to 25, and we bumped the mileage up to what the current IRS rate is. So we're not having to play catch up with our contracts as that changes. And then lastly, that it was a clarifying that the services will be provided during Animal Rescue League's regular business hours, and that the calls won't be responded outside of those hours unless it's an emergency due to a serious, unexpected, and/or dangerous situation requiring immediate action. So we know that those don't happen very frequent at all, but this was a good mutual agreement between both, mostly our sheriff's department handling those and Animal Rescue League. So we'll continue the communication with ARL because we do know that some of the contracts with the other towns in our county aren't the most consistent. So we want to get those consistent, and then there's some other things we can maybe update with this contract later, but we thought this was a good way to get things started, of some minor changes that we both thought were important, so. Sheriff, did you have anything to add to this?
No, I think you covered everything.
Okay. Ben? Any other comments? Excellent. All right, I'll entertain motions to approve this.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the Animal Rescue League of Marshalltown, Iowa contract and authorize the chair to sign.
I'll second that.
All right, we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Solosek.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
Excellent. All right, on to number 12, Iowa Valley Community College Business Outreach Presentation. Come on up, ladies.
Are you doing the storm siren?
Did I jump ahead?
Yeah.
Because we thought we were 13.
Can we do that anyway? No?
I have the old agenda that we got moved around in order. Scrap it.
You want
Go
us to
ahead.
sit?
Go ahead.
That's why Kelly gave you a new agenda.
We did talk about switching them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. Starting with introductions, I'm Jackie Goodman. I'm Vice President of Business and Community Solutions for Iowa Valley Community College District.
I'm Nisa Hartzler, and I work under Jackie as a business outreach coordinator, working with area businesses.
Val Ruff, I work business outreach with NISA, and I also do oversee the conference center at the community college.
All right, first off, I want to just say thank you for allowing us to come speak to you guys today. What we hope you get out of this is just a general understanding of what we do, because I think we provide a resource that a lot of people still aren't aware of. We do a lot of business outreach. You're going to hear about some of the great projects that we have going on. Is there this?
Well, so I advanced it. Do I need to do something else?
Sorry, I think you gotta hit that button.
Oh, the enter?
Or the arrow? Oh, this, okay.
Oh, that. This is new technology we haven't used
Yeah.
before. Maybe hit enter.
Shoot.
Well, we have notes if we take it
Hang
to
on.
work, so.
We just need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
nice if they could
There's a
look
really
at it.
great map that kind of shows you our district.
You
Sorry.
sure it's
There's
there?
a really great map you're telling us?
We're educators and we don't know this technology.
That's why you have a
Bear with
technology
us.
department.
Darn IT stuff.
Worst case, I'll run from the back.
Oh, that'd be
Yeah, go ahead.
fantastic. Thank you.
So, I just need you to go back one more slide. There.
There we go.
So one of the things that we all hear a lot about is the attracting talent, keeping talent, especially in rural areas, is a challenge. And this map, I do show this a lot because this really showcases what we're dealing with. We are surrounded by urban areas, as you can see, and those wages are much higher. And we know that our people are mobile and are willing to, unfortunately, leave the area for higher pay. So we're often asked to work with employers to develop strategies that allow for, growing from within, and also working with our local high schools to hopefully start building those relationships that we can keep that talent in our local areas. And I just wrote a grant for healthcare called Rural Highways to Hope. And because it is huge in healthcare, the challenges of recruiting into rural Iowa.
Jackie, who funds that grant?
So that came from Iowa Workforce Development, but it's
Okay.
federal relief funds.
Oh, I see.
That they were
Okay.
able to allocate out. And so what we're gonna be doing, we received $451,000, and our partners are McFarland, Unity Point, and then Mercy, because of our northern part. And they're all just really feeling the pain. And what this does is it allows us to start with apprenticeships in high schools and also do some apprenticeship and training internally so that they can upskill the talent within, because it is a challenge to try. There's very little unemployed, very few unemployed. We're looking at about 1,300 roughly, the numbers I was looking at in our local region, and hard to reach audience, right? We try our best working with IWD and other partners, community-based organizations, to attract that talent, but we know that we have to do more. So I like to show this slide because it really is an illustration of the workforce problem probably tripled for anybody in rural Iowa, and I see some heads nodding. It just adds some extra challenge. So we'll go on to the next slide. So we offer job training programs, and that has everything to do with upskilling your employees. We're working inside these organizations, helping them to develop a plan for their employees, which could include basic adult education, specific job-related instruction, skills assessment, training. We customize everything that we do and build the program around what's going on inside that organization. They can do any testing and evaluation of employees, and any travel if they need to send people off can be reimbursed through these job training programs that you're going to hear about. So now, if we go to the next slide, Val's going to tell you about one of the programs.
Yes. One of the programs that I help work with is the Iowa Jobs Training Program. We call it a 260F. And basically, this is we do this in conjunction with Iowa Workforce Development and partnership with the community colleges in Iowa. But basically, what we're doing is we're helping businesses fund customized training within their organizations to upskill their workforce so that they can stay competitive within the state. We've got some really good examples of, if you want to go ahead and hit the next slide, please. So here's just an example of some of them in the Marshall County area. Other thing is that our district covers Hardin County, Marshall County, Tama County, and Poweshiek. So that map that Jackie was referring to, so those are all the counties that we're working with business and industry in. But these just happen to cover Marshall County, means we were here with you today talking about Marshall County. But so these are programs, these are grant allocation or grant funding that we're able to give to these businesses through applications.
Is the 200,000, is that for the whole area, not
Yes.
just Marshall County?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is throughout the district. So
Okay.
that's what we're allocated, and that comes to us, we know July 1st. So we'll
Okay.
start allocating those funds out. And this is a 2-year grant that we have with these organizations. But like Jackie said, we go sit down with them, we put together a training plan of what their immediate needs might be. We do a lot of different things with leadership. We do stuff with safety training, computer training, anything customized that might be industry specific, like OSHA training. A lot of these are Nisa's accounts that she works with, so I'm going to let her kind of give you an overview of just some of the things that we're actually doing within these organizations.
Like she said, the state gives us around $203,000 to allocate to different businesses. So you have to be careful. Some businesses you don't want to give them like you give $50,000 or $100,000 to one business, then we can't give other businesses a chance to do it. So some of them are bigger projects, some are smaller projects. Align Energy, we actually have an Energy Basics program with our high schools, and that's been a really positive thing. Also, we have a program called PALS. It's for pre-apprentices go into this program through our training at Iowa Valley, and then they actually, Align Energy will pick 2 to 4 people to go into their actual apprenticeship program. So it's kind of a cool way for them to actually, find good employees for them. And then they're also doing some basic like CPR first aid training. That's a very common request that we have. And we have instructors that we just work with the businesses to line that up for them. JBS we are happy. We have a great ongoing industrial maintenance training with them right now. As new maintenance workers come into the plant, and anywhere from 2 right now, I think there's 8 guys total that are coming, different times during the week. We even have an instructor that comes in from 10 to midnight to work with a couple different guys, because we want to be on the, on the company's time, the shift that they want. And so they send guys out to our campus. We have an Amatrol lab, if anybody's familiar with Amatrol. We have, I don't know how, millions dollar equipment of trainers. Anywhere from them, they learn basic pneumatics, hydraulics, electrical, basic AC/DC. I mean, just the different areas of industrial maintenance from the plant. And it's really cool to see these guys start from scratch. It's a hybrid approach where they do e-learning, sitting beside the instructor, and then the instructor, after each module, they have to do like a hands-on with these, with the Amatrol equipment, like these trainers. It's just really cool because JBS will increase their wage a little bit as they pass through each of these modules. So, and that's just an ongoing thing we've been doing with them for a while now. We work with Hawkins Electrical Services here in town. He puts his guys through electrical certifications, and he's also used his money for the grant to learn QuickBooks. Richie Industries, yes.
So when you're working with the individual businesses, like as you talked about Hawkins and JBS, what's their skin in the game there? Do they have to contribute towards this too?
Yes, so
Okay.
what's interesting about the 260F program is they have to have at least a 25% match. Starting July 1st, it's gonna be a 30% match. So
Okay.
if the state's giving them, we're giving them $20,000, they've gotta show 25% of that as part of it.
As part
And then
of
there's
that.
a series of, there's some book work involved, bookkeeping involved. In order for they have to show who attended, and we have to go back and forth with, some paperwork, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, we want to be sensitive to your time too, but I wanted to say that as a community college system, so if you went from one area to the other, we're very consistent with, that 30% match requirement, minimum requirement. So we work a lot together so that we are consistent across the
Yeah.
state of Iowa.
Okay.
And yeah, for time's sake, we'll go through Ritchie Industries. I know they're Grundy County, but we do we've done some, again, welding training with them. And again, we do customize, we had an MCC instructor went up there and just did one-on-one, sat down with the guys and just one-on-one training with them. They wanted some employees to go through computer training. Alcogen, which is, the Lidol plant here in town, which is, I guess, Alcogen took the name over. They just have a brand new 260F project. We're really excited to have that new partnership with them. And they're just going to be started to do blueprint reading. They've requested OSHA and also industrial maintenance. And then Mechdyne is a new
Yeah.
partnership we've
Yeah,
got.
Mechdyne is they've done business with in the past, but now they're just starting to work on we just did a grant. And just to give you an idea of how long this process takes, we started talking in September of last year, and in March of this year, we actually submitted the grant to IWD, and now so that funding comes to us, and once we get the funding, then we can start doing the reimbursements and then the match. So it's not a quick process, but we are getting in there and we're helping organizations upskill the workforce.
And then budgetarily for you guys, this program's pretty much all funded by State of Iowa workforce or that match. This is not, property tax dollars that you guys take does not pay for this, correct?
Right.
It's,
No.
it's all sustainable. So I think that's an important thing for the public to know, that this,
Right.
what you guys are doing here is this service that property tax dollars aren't a part of this. So,
Yep.
I mean, obviously state dollars are, but local
Yes.
property tax dollars aren't, so.
Absolutely. You can go next slide. And then the other program that we have that goes kind of along with this is the 260E. The difference with the 260E from the F is this is for new businesses coming to the area or expanding businesses, where the F is for upskilling their current employees. And the E can be a process of 10 years. It's a very much higher amount. And we have some other examples of those, yeah. we
Yeah,
do.
it's totally based on new job
Yeah.
creation, expansion in the area.
Yeah.
And so it is a little bit different in that we issue bonds on behalf of the company. And so it's not a property tax cost, but it is, again, state dollars then that support that project.
And we can go to the next slide on this one. And just a few local companies that have the 260 program. Two ones we really want to look at, Lennox and JBS. They do, from the tornado, they had special circumstances, I guess we could say. It truly was like a disaster relief money that came from the state to do training and to get them built back up again. With Lennox, we literally just are starting a very large training program with them for safety. They're doing all kinds of safety training at their plant. We're gonna be starting that in like a week. Iowa Premium, I know that's Tama County, but we've done some high dollar training with them, with specifically PLC, electrical training with them. JBS, again, with them, specifically the distribution center of the plant was destroyed in the tornado or the roof. So specifically, this is going to be training for the DC employees there. Bruin Manufacturing, actually the next two are brand new 260 projects from this last year. Bruin Manufacturing and AUR Iowa Farm. And that's a very new company that's just come into rural Iowa.
Bitcoin security, so we're learning a lot about it. Some of you have probably heard about it, but yes, very new to us.
And then we have Midwest Manufacturing, which is part of Menards. You can go to the next slide.
And the last program that we're going to talk about, and I'll be brief, is the Accelerated Career Education Program, which allows us to expand our career and tech programs. If we have to add on facilities to expand, or it provides some resources for that and resources towards operation to get the program going. These are our current examples, but recent examples in Marshalltown is when we renovated what we used to call the John Norris Technology Center, and we put all that Amatrol equipment in one place. Also, our health sim lab, we used resources from this program to do that expansion. It does require a partnership, so it was at the hospital at the time, and one of our nursing homes, or long-term care facilities, I slipped my mind right now who that was, but anyway, supported that, yes, we need more nurses in the area, let's build a sim lab, we need more industrial maintenance technicians, we need to renovate our lab and create more space to do that training. So that really is what this program allows us to do. And with that, we just want to thank you. Go to the last slide. It's just thank you for your time. And do you have any additional questions? Did you guys know that we do all of this? Some of you may have, but people in the audience, Steve.
Not all of it.
Yeah, so that's really what we wanted
Yeah.
you to walk away with, is just more knowledge of the services that we can provide.
Well, thank you for this.
Thank
And I
you.
do know, it's just important that people know this. I think a lot of times when you're working with workforce development, a lot of people, the assumption's always been workforce development is for those that need unemployment or trying to find a job. And workforce development is trying to rebrand this as well. It's like that they're being proactive with existing businesses to get them up to speed on whatever it is that they can help them get up to speed to continue to be in business and competitive. I think a lot of times we talk about a lot of growth and about what getting new, but this is such a critical thing to keep our existing businesses competitive and on the cutting edge of what they need. And so we certainly appreciate all that you guys do on this and for being here
Thank you for
today.
the opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for letting us come.
Yes.
Good to see you.
All right, now that I got the right agenda in front of me here. Okay, so now the storm siren system upgrade RFB project presentation. And this is the pre-bid meeting for the siren project. Do I have a motion to open the pre-bid meeting?
I'll make a motion that we open the pre-bid meeting for the storm siren project upgrade.
I'll second.
All right, motion is second. Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Solosik.
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
All right, Kim.
Okay, so I am just going to do the intro for the RFB, so the request for bid. And then we'll open it to questions for potential bidders, and then open it for the public then after that. So I will not read through the whole RFB. It is available on the county website and at the auditor's office here at the courthouse. Sealed bids will be received by Marshall County Auditor Recorder's Office at 1 East Main Street, Marshalltown, Iowa, 3rd floor northeast by 4 p.m. Monday, July 17th, 2023 for the improvement project. Marshall County wishes to upgrade and or install a new storm siren system which will be used to warn the public of tornadoes and other weather threats. And kind of a caveat to that, Marshall County is the grant host. It is actually for many of the incorporated areas, and it's just hosted by the county. 10 sirens operating on a high band, 3 digital controllers, control stations for 2 locations, and construction installation of all these elements with an approximate cost of $391,006.58, which is the total for the grant. The county may award 2 separate contracts under this solicitation, one for the equipment and another for the site construction work, and that's in May. Work on said project is anticipated to commence on the contract date on or before September 1st, 2023. The project shall be completed by the end of the hazard mitigation grant award period or approximately October 30th of 2024. Bidding forms may be obtained from the Marshall County Auditor Recorder's Office and as attachment D on the RFB. Copies of plans and specification documents can be obtained at the same address at the courthouse. The county reserves the right to reject any and or all bids and to waive any and or all technicalities and or all irregularities. And then the important note is attempts to contact other parties, council members, employees, or staff with questions or in an attempt to win favoritism will mean immediate withdrawal from the pool of bidders and your bid will be rejected. All interested bidders for this project are encouraged to attend the pre-bid meeting, which is now. The project is being funded using FEMA grant funds. And then there are 2 parts of the scope of work. The equipment procurement is Division A, and the siren installation services are Division B in the RFB. I think I've hit all of the highlights there. So I think it's time for opening for the questions from bidders. Are there any bidders online?
1 or 2.
Oh, sorry. Okay. 2, okay. Do you know names or?
Looks like we've got American Signal Corp.
Whoops. Okay.
Is online, and I'm not sure if the other bid is
Okay. Are they able to communicate with you?
should be.
Okay, so just as an announcement, if you need to participate online, the IT will be able to transfer that information or questions to me. And then, are there any bidders here? Could you, I guess, do they need to step up here or just, okay. Just
Tim,
step
I've got
up
a
and
question.
announce.
I just want to verify that the communities that these sirens are going into, there is no cost to those communities.
Correct. The cost is the FEMA grant. It started out as a typical grant, 75, 15, 10, so the communities would have the 10%, and the Biden administration changed it to a 90-10, so 90% federal, 10% state. If there is an overrun, they are allowed because it switched midstream. If there's an overrun, the communities can contribute, whereas the old or the original FEMA grant, the 75, 15, 10, they weren't allowed to add any dollars to that. So if they had a small overrun, the communities could add to that, but the requirements are not there. They don't have to contribute. The 90-10 is what the grant is now.
Can you remind us again the communities that are gonna be involved
Yeah,
in this?
absolutely. And then I'll get the two bidders here to announce their names. Find my list here. All right, so the list for the communities in the local sirens are Ferguson, Gilman, Haverhill, Laurel, Liscum, Melbourne, Rhodes, St. Anthony, State Center, and then one in the non-incorporated Grimes Farm and Conservation Area. The way that we got to that was a mapping of population density, and we had LeGrand and Marshalltown opted out because they had sirens that they wanted to keep that they believe will work with this new system. And that's the goal of this new project, is to get it a system that will work with those current sirens. Okay, you're welcome. All right, I'll let the two bidders here step up and just announce who they are, and that's all I need for the record.
Yeah, I'm Cruz with Table Rock Alerting Systems and Sentry Siren. My questions, I guess, are kind of more technical, so I'm not sure if we can get all of them answered, but it's just kind of what I'm after. The current method that's used to control the sirens, is that just a VHF, a two-tone, or DTMF system?
It is a VHF system.
Okay, perfect. So that should handle that. Is there a repeated radio network throughout the county that the sirens will operate off of, or does it need to be a simplex system as far as communication between the sites?
It will have to have repeaters out in the county.
Okay.
Yep, for the current one, which those are listed in the RFB.
Okay, so I guess that answers the next question, which is what the 3 additional digital controllers were for.
Yeah.
Okay, so those
To help
essentially are
communicate.
repeaters.
Yep.
Okay. So this is more for the siren spec side of things. So it lists a 130 dB siren, which to my knowledge, there's only one manufacturer that makes a siren that's exactly 130 dB. So would there potentially be an allowance of a plus or a minus about 3 decibels on that 130 dB rating to allow all the other manufacturers to have a similar product?
I am not an expert on that, to tell you the truth. I think my guess would be, and you guys could answer this too probably, my guess would be to put the RFB in so that it could be reviewed, and then we could see if it would work with the other systems that are already here in the county. I think that's the main goal.
Absolutely, yeah. Anything that we would be doing would be comparable to that. I just want to make sure
Yep.
that was kind of.
Yeah, we definitely would have to review it. 'Cause
Gotcha.
That's not my expertise on.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's
That
the
makes
world
sense.
of the world of
Yeah.
sirens can get very deep in the weeds with
Right,
specifications. So,
Right.
I know on the spec there was for Lipscomb there is an existing generator that the city has that we're wanting to utilize, just an
Correct.
AC power siren.
Correct.
Do we know the specifications as far as how big that generator is, what the wattage is, so we can make sure whatever siren we put there isn't too big?
Sure. I do not, but I can find that out.
Okay, excellent. I also noticed, so in there it said that the siren at St. Anthony would require a 55-foot pole to clear the buildings. So I was just doing some pre-looking, and it didn't look like anything stood out specifically at that site that was a tall obstruction. But I did notice the siren at State Center. There are a lot of big buildings around there. So I'm guessing if maybe the 55-foot pole was supposed to be for that site.
Yeah, and that was which one's St. Anthony?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it looked like everything there was just 1 or 2 story buildings, which a typical 50-foot pole would clear.
I'll look at those and make sure that that's correct.
Perfect. And then the last one that I think I had was with the new control system. Is this primarily for a two-way report back system so that you can see the status of the sirens?
Absolutely,
Or
yes.
do you want an additional, do you want the National Weather Service to be able to activate them based on a polygon?
No,
Okay.
we'll activate within the community, so our communication center.
Gotcha.
Or the emergency management, so we'll have 2 systems.
Perfect.
Or a backup, basically.
Gotcha. So it's basically you guys are pushing the button, you just want to see
We
that
want
they're
to be able
working.
to see if they're working. Yep,
Perfect.
Yep.
Well, I think that clears out everything that I've got, so
Well, I will definitely get the the generator size from Liscum, and then find out to make sure if that state center is the one instead of St. Anthony.
Yeah.
And I can, get that back out. Were you on my list of people that got the RFB? I know some people had requested.
I don't think so. We did all the
Okay.
sirens in Powshiek, so they actually sent that to me.
Okay.
And they're like, "Hey, if you guys are interested," I was like, "Heck yeah!" So,
So if you can give me your information before we leave.
Yeah,
then
absolutely.
I
I'll
can
give
get
you
you
a
on
card.
a list, and we'll make sure everybody gets those answers that you
Perfect.
wanted, okay?
that'll work. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me here, guys.
Thank you.
Morning. I'm Bruce Fisher with Blue Valley Public Safety, and we are manufacturer representative for Federal Signal Corporation. And at this time, I don't have any questions unless you all have some comments.
No, thank you for participating.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone online have any questions? Okay, that's good. You got some good, go ahead.
I have one more question.
Sure.
Are you guys licensed for those radio frequencies that we're going to use? Okay,
Yes.
so we don't need any licensing, just repeaters.
Correct.
Perfect.
Any public questions, concerns? Anything else from the board? A long process already, hasn't it? All right, all right.
Hearing none, do we have a motion to close the pre-bid meeting?
I'll make a motion, we close the pre-bid meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Heil,
Yes.
Solosik,
Yes.
Hibbs.
Yes.
That closed at 9:52 a.m., opened at 9:40 a.m. for the record. All right. Thank you all for being here today, and we look forward to continuing on this process. All right. Okay, on to number 14, the Satusi request for letter of support. We have Jenny Eder and Darcy Parks here today.
I'm Jenny Eder. I'm the Executive Director at Satusi Substance Abuse Treatment Unit of Central Iowa. It's a huge name, so that's why we have an odd acronym. And this is?
I am Darcy Maiden Parks. I'm the Clinical Director at Satusi.
The purpose for us being here today is to update you on the expansion plan that we have for our organization and to request a letter of support. That letter of support is going to be utilized when we're applying for grants to fund all the expansions that we have planned. We have three major things that we're asking for funding from the federal government, the state, and some local agencies. And that is for additional staff people, the purchase funds for our building, and for the renovation of the building. We have been in the community for over 40 years. We started out as a substance abuse treatment center and joined with Center Associates in the building at 9 North 4th Avenue, where we've been since the 1990s. Over the last few years, we have realized, and the state realized, that we don't just provide substance abuse services, but with in fact 80% of the people that come to services with us also have mental health issues. So what we provide is called integrated behavioral health services, meaning that the people that come to us have substance abuse, mental health issues, which they titled co-occurring disorders. It's kind of like the chicken or the egg. You don't know which came first. Did they have a mental health disorder and they self-medicated? Or did they have a substance abuse that led to mental health symptomology? So we don't intend to be a mental health clinic, but we do want to provide services to address the mental health diagnoses that we see, which are primarily depression and anxiety. So With that, then we would like to be able to have more staff to provide services, which means more support staff, and that would be in clinical, in prevention, and, as I said, support staff. We see probably 1,200 to 1,500 people a year, and we anticipate within the next 3 years we'll add an additional 300 to 400 people. Our staff now is sufficient for what we're doing, but with this, our expansion plan, we have developed collaborations with community members to provide services to more people in our counties. So we're collaborating with Unity Point, we're collaborating with Marshall County Veteran Affairs, and did you know there are no substance abuse services for veterans in this county unless you're at the veteran's home? So for veterans and their families in this community to get services, they have to go to Des Moines. So we're working with Kevin to talk about referrals and how we can help transport and how we can get them to our services. And if they need referrals out, what does that mean? Does it mean residential? Does it mean they do have to go to Des Moines, et cetera? So we're also working with Micah. We're working with Central Iowa Rehabilitation Services. We're working with Together They Can for peer counseling services. And that's on top of what we already do. So Darcy, you want to talk about the services what we provide now?
Yes, yes. So we provide a variety of services. We are licensed by the state of Iowa to provide substance abuse and mental health services. We are also CARF accredited to provide mental health and substance abuse services. Our licenses are for ages 10 up. Sadly, we have experience where we've had 10-year-olds in our agency. So we provide evaluation and assessment and treatment. So what that means, somebody would be referred to us maybe by probation office, DHS, could be a self-referral. They come in, they do an assessment with us, meet with the clinician, and then the clinician and the client determine what is the best way to treat this individual. So we talk to them about individual counseling, we talk to them about group counseling, we talk to them, are they at the level they need to go to residential treatment, and we assist with getting them to residential treatment. We also have our prevention programs, so our prevention specialists are in our schools and out in our communities, and we continue to grow and looking at other ways that we can get those prevention specialists out in the community to do education. We provide DUI classes. So those are the classes for anybody in the state of Iowa who would get charged with an OWI. It doesn't matter if it's first, second, third plus offense. They come to us. We do the evaluation, determine the course of action. We also provide the 12-hour class that the state of Iowa requires for anybody who gets an OWI. So we do that once a month. We, in the past, have done Spanish-speaking OWI classes. Our Spanish speaker right now is no longer with us, so we're looking for somebody who might be interested in doing that. We feel that's a really important void to fill. Just to give you an idea of some of the groups that we offer, currently we offer an anxiety depression group. We actually have 2 anxiety depression groups. We offer a women's group. We recognize that oftentimes men and women have different needs in recovery. We offer a relapse prevention group, an early recovery group. We have intensive outpatient treatment. We have a continuing care group. We have a breaking the cycle group. That group is for people who are criminal thinkers. So a lot of our people who are on probation or involved in drug court are in that group. We continually look at what do our clients' needs. So continually assessing, talking to our clients, what kind of groups do you need? What do we need to be doing? So I could tell you these are my groups today. Now next month they might change because we've identified we have a lot of men that need something. We've had men groups in the past. So just kind of ever changing, just really our goal is to be able to meet the needs of our clients in our community. Starting in July, part of our expansion that we've started already is we've identified it's very important for us to be able to have a med provider on our staff who can not only do medication-assisted treatment, those are medications that people may use if they struggle with alcohol, opioids, methamphetamines. So she will be coming on board full-time in July. Her name is Andrea Storjahan. She's a psychiatric ARMP. She's been at Primary Health. We stole her. I feel bad for them, but I'm really excited for us. But she will also be able to do psychiatric evaluation, so she can manage our clients' psychiatric medications as well. Part of that then, I think Jenny talked about some of the grants that we've written. Our really big SAMHSA grant that we wrote, that would allow us then to expand to get more mental health service staff on board. Right now, I'm the only licensed mental health person, so I would really like to bring a few more people on to help me out. All of my clinicians are certified by the state of Iowa as certified alcohol and drug counselors. So that's just kind of us in a nutshell, and I want to respect your time because I really love this and I could talk forever about this. So.
So Darcy, just a clarification, the SAMHSA grant, the funding that you're hoping to receive for expanding services for co-occurring substance abuse and mental health, what's the timeline on that and how much is that?
I'll let Jenny speak to that.
That's the CCBHC. And that, we applied for that, and we should hear about that in September.
Okay,
And that's $1 million a year for 4 years.
okay.
So we're hopeful.
So what's the competition for that? I'm sure it's probably pretty
It's
steep,
stiff.
but yeah.
But there's only one other provider in our region that's a CCBHC. And it was as if this grant was written for us because it talks about the need for transportation in rural communities and the focus group that we have. And so we also had help in writing the grant. So we're positive that this may be a really great outcome for us. The rest of the grants that we're going to be writing are about acquisition of the building and renovation of the space. You know, at least 40 to 50% of our folks can walk or ride their bikes to our facilities. So we have a huge investment to stay put where we are. We co-own the building with Center Associates, and as you know, they moved out south, but we firmly want to stay where we are, to be kind of that anchor to the east end of the Main Street District. And that goes along with the city plan. And really, we want to be part of the vibrancy of the community. And with everything being vacated around us, we want to establish that we're alive and well and really do a good job of renovating the property and bringing that up to speed. So that grant will go in next month. Really soon, and we should hear about that in September as well. So, and we've talked to those funders, and they're very supportive of our plans and what we're trying to achieve. So we're hopeful.
Do patients need to come to you through referrals, or can they come directly to you?
They can come directly to us.
Directly.
Yep. We accept referrals, self-referrals. We have a very good relationship with Unity Point, so when we have, somebody in their ER, whether it be our current client or somebody with a substance abuse problem, they are really good about referring back to us. So.
Can you talk a little bit about how this aligns with Center Associate or, doesn't overlap?
We're the only one in the area that does substance abuse, so that is our focus. And we only work with mental health people because it's a co-occurring issue alongside of substance abuse. So if we were to have somebody come in who only had mental health issues, we would be referring them to Center Associates and they to us. If they had somebody that came in with just substance abuse or that was the predominant diagnosis, they would refer to us as well.
Okay.
How many staff are you shooting for to expand?
We have 20 right now, and we want to increase the staff size to 5 or 6 more.
And the 5 and 6 would be?
Clinical, prevention, and support staff. We were asked yesterday of all the times to expand services when some people are downsizing, why would you do that? And our answer is simply services that are needed are not declining. you know, we continue to see more and more rise in the need for these services. We do community surveys, we do individual surveys, we do client surveys, and we were part of the Unity Point Community Health Survey, and which all makes the case for why services are so needed in our community. So based on that, then we felt like we couldn't not ask for funding for more staff.
Right, and I know you work with Pat Thompson, our public health
Absolutely.
nurse in our department, so.
Right.
What's the cost of the building purchase and renovations that you're looking to get the funding for?
Well, the assessed value from a local realtor is that it's approximately worth $400,000 to $500,000 for the entire building. We're saying the renovation cost, we'll have that in 2 phases. The first phase would be the exterior of the building. The second phase would be the interior second floor that Center Associates had in the ground floor level. The first phase would be probably $100,000 for the renovation, and the funder that we're applying for the building funds would only pay fair market value. So that would be, if you say the building at most is $500,000, they would only be funding us $250,000.
And you already own half, so
That's
you're
correct.
really looking for half of the purchase
Half of the
price.
building
Yeah.
price, yes.
Mhm.
You know, we're in a really odd position because no one wants to buy half a building.
Yeah.
No one wants to sell half a building.
Yeah.
And because there already is a tenant in the building, that also makes it difficult to rent or to do anything else with the building. Believe it or not everybody wants to be housed with, you know, substance abuse
Right.
services. So, you know, we really are invested in staying put. And so, you know, we're gonna write as many grants as we need to make sure that happens.
And so what you're asking us is a letter of support saying we support what you do.
Yes.
And the improvements you're trying to make and expanding the services.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Correct.
I'd say just the small concern I have is just because I don't understand the massive realm of mental health. With the co-occurring and us already having Center Associates, Gracie May, and I know YSS does mental health as well, with their studies of saying that we're up to, there's 40% shortage of mental health counselors, mental health personnel. Having this much federal, state funds, you know, public money going to a project like this, would this have the potential of us, you know, our nonprofits eating their own with the shortage of mental health personnel out there? And so
Well-
that's just where I have a little pause on knowing for sure and supporting this or not.
We have a specific niche in substance abuse services, and we aren't going to veer off of that path. The people that come to us have only substance abuse issues, but they may have residual mental health services needs. And so we aren't duplicating services because no one does co-occurring because of the substance abuse issue. And so the staff that we're looking at needs to have a background in substance abuse or related areas. And one of the things that we're able to do is telehealth. We also, I think everybody in workforce now has to look at how they hire differently than they have in the past. So we're looking at part-time people, we're looking at interns that are specific to substance abuse issues. And really kind of looking outside of the box of what that might look like. And part of the grant writing that we're doing is to raise the salaries of people we already have as an incentive to stay, you know, and to keep who we have and just add additional staff for the additional services that we want to provide.
I think it's important to note too that what we've kind of come across, and one of the reasons that we really want to expand services, is that you are exactly right. There is a lot of options here for people to receive mental health services, and that continues to grow. Last time I checked, Center Associates had a 4 to 6 week wait. YSS has a 4 to 6 week wait. So one of our biggest concerns is how do we meet the needs of our current clients? There, you know, and like Jenny said, we have that niche of people who have both substance abuse and mental health issues. So wanting to meet that, that niche is very important to us, because when we're working with somebody and they can't be seen somewhere for 4 to 6 weeks, that's a long time. That's a long time, and a lot can happen during that time.
Am I right in understanding, though, you would already be seeing them for
We would already
substance
be
abuse
seeing
part
them,
of it?
yeah.
You're
So
just,
so then it would just be
Yeah.
like seamless, you know, that they can go over and see Andrea.
mhm.
You know, one of the great things about our collaboration with Unity Point is we talk monthly about how we can prevent our folks from being in the ER. It's clogging up their system, and although they need to go if they're in crisis or are in harm's way. But that's one of the many things that we try to achieve in the community, is to find out what people's needs are. And Unity Point is thrilled to work with us in how we can prevent those visits to the hospital through more services and getting them in as quickly as we possibly can.
I think the sheriff will probably have input on that also. So.
Absolutely. Satusi is one of those organizations that we rely on heavily, not only in the court system, in the public, and then within our facility with our incarcerated individuals. And what we kind of run into is working with Satusi is they may have them as a client outside, and then they end up in our facility, and they continue that care. Telehealth has been a big asset, and being able to work with that. And then not only for the providers, but the education. We've actually partnered with them at different events to come up with education of substance abuse. I think that's been a really good resource for us anyway.
Great.
We have a good relationship with the PD also, and Chief Tupper and his team. Drug court, I am a drug court, on the drug court panel,
Good.
so I have that.
Good program.
It's an excellent program. If you haven't come to visit it, you really should come visit
have.
it. Yeah, it's amazing. We also too, I have 2 different people who cover call. So after 5 o'clock, the phone is switched over, and so we have a crisis call. Every day we have time slotted for a crisis client. Now, mind you, we know that the 9 o'clock slot might not be the time the crisis happens, but that's where Darcy comes in, or somebody who had a cancellation. So we don't turn people away. We are there to help people.
We appreciate your work. Very important.
Thank you for letting us come and share. Like I said, I could probably, you know, talk for nonstop for 24, 48 hours about this.
And I also like the idea of the building renovation and improvement in that area as well, so.
You know, and we'll be back, you probably will hear us from there if we get these grants, but we want to come back and talk to you about what we intend to do if we do get the money, and how we intend to expand the program. Now, if the worst thing happened and we didn't get the funding, we're still going to go ahead with the expansion, because these services need to be provided. So what would happen is that it would take us longer to do some of the things that we want to do. Maybe we hire 1 person a year for 3 years, you know, that kind of thing. But we will continue to look for funding to support the services.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
So I will make a motion that we approve the request for the letter of support.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? I'm going to be a no because it's a not yet, but if you guys vote for it, that is what it is. Just because that co-occurring, I'm just nervous about the duplication service of that part, but it doesn't mean that I'm not necessarily open to the support as it goes on down the road. So I just
Okay.
wanted to clarify that as it's not a no, I'm against it. It's I'm a no, not yet, just because I need to do some more studying on that.
Yeah.
So Any other further questions?
Well,
or-
and my sense of pushing forward with this is some time, excuse me, some timelines for the grant.
Other comment? All right, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
No.
Slosser?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
Motion carries. All right, now am I on the right one or not? 15, discussion and possible action on cybersecurity MOU. Memorandum of Understanding with the State of Iowa Office of Chief Information Officer used for various cybersecurity services that is provided to the county. James, did you have anything to report on this one?
Not too much. We partner with the state of Iowa and federal agencies to help bolster our cybersecurity. Programs that normally we wouldn't be able to afford on a local government budget. They get Homeland Security grant dollars at the state OCIO level. They pass a lot of those tools down to us. They're just asking us to formalize this relationship with a memorandum of understanding. Should be a one-time document. We get an umbrella of services for that.
Excellent. Any questions for James? Further discussion? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
I'd make a motion to approve the cybersecurity memorandum of understanding with the State of Iowa Office of the Chief Information Officer and authorize the chair to sign.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Slosser? Yes. Hibbs?
Yes.
All right, on to discussion and possible action on donation to Marshtown Fireworks. This was at our joint city-county meeting. Councilman Lottehoff had asked us to consider that. He had reached out to me again, asking if we would consider it. He asked that, I think the city donated $5,000 to the fireworks. He asked me if we'd be open to a $4,000. My thought on putting this on the agenda was I'm open to a $2,000. We have funds remaining of $53,000 in our economic development fund for this year. And just see if this is something that interests you guys at all.
Is any of that, or a lot of that money earmarked already for projects, or?
It's not going to be spent because of
won't
what
be
we,
spent.
of what we.
Deadline is June 30th, so anything that you will
We'll
do
go back
has to
into
be-
the,
Has to be done before June.
okay, all right.
So,
Any thoughts?
I guess I'm wondering why two?
I don't know. I'm just threw it out there for conversation's sake.
Is this gonna be like a one-time thing, or is it gonna be?
So
like
this would be
every
just a
year?
one-time thing. This is not an annual commitment. We were asked here late in the game, and from what I understand, the cost of fireworks have gone up, and if it's something we can help, we can. If it's something we don't want to do, I know it's because we haven't done it in the past. So would we be creating a new a stream of revenue that they think that they'd be relying on? If that's something, a reason why we wouldn't, I'm open to whatever.
I would think $2,000 would be appropriate, and we'll wait to hear from feedback from our taxpayers and see if that's okay, so.
Well, I know all Marshall County residents enjoy the fireworks
They do. You're
here
right.
at the fairgrounds. You're
right.
So I'm in favor of that as well.
Would that be a form of a motion for?
I'll make a
2,000?
motion then that we would approve the donation of $2,000 to the Marshalltown Fireworks.
I'll second that.
All right, we have the motion, the second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Slosser?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
All right. Next, it's the adopt resolution 2023-31, appropriation of funds for fiscal year 23-24. And this is in accordance to Iowa Code 331.434, subsection 6. And so this is just the annual of appropriation of the funds of what we already approved in our budget process. This just is the continuation of that process to make it official. So, is there anything else on that, Maria? Did I cover it?
Yeah, the only thing I have to mention is like, we didn't buy, well, nothing was budgeted for capital projects, and because they thought the move into the courthouse and everything was gonna be done before the end of the fiscal year. So there's gonna be more coming to reappropriate money from non-departmental to capital projects for them to keep going with what they are doing right now.
Which, that would just be the carryover from this current year into next year to do that.
It's not really a carryover because this is a new fiscal year. So
Yep.
this is a new budget, so we will have to use money from the non-departmental to cover capital projects expenses. And then we'll probably have to amend the budget for more expenses for non-departmental.
Okay.
When the amendment is done.
Is there any advantage to amending this at this time, or?
I don't think there is a need for
Not a
that,
need
to
at this
spend
time, okay.
the money for publications and all that, since we have money on, non-departmental that we are not gonna be using it right away.
All right,
So,
very good.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2023-0031, appropriation of funds for fiscal year 2023-2024, as presented.
I'll second that.
Excellent. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solosek?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
All right, on to number 18, adopt resolution 2023-32, advance issuance of payments for fiscal year 23-24. This is pursuant to section 331.5063A and B, that may authorize the county auditor and recorder to issue payment when said board is not in session for the following purposes, which would be fixed charges including and not limited to freight express, postage, water, light, telephone service, or contracted services after a bill is filed with the auditor recorder. 2, salaries and payroll. If the compensation has been fixed or approved by the board, the salary or payroll shall be certified by the officer or supervisor under those whose direction or supervision the compensation is earned. Basically, then the last piece is that this shall be submitted to the board for review and approval following that payment. So this basically is just to cover some expenses in that time period, kind of like right now. We're finishing this meeting now, and if there'd be expenses between now and the next meeting, just because there's kind of a longer gap before the end of the year. So it's more of a procedural thing on, and both items 1 and 2 are things that are, for the most part, are already pre-approved within budget. So that's why I'd be supportive of this. Any questions, comments?
Nope.
All right.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve, to adopt the resolution number 2023-0032, advance issuance of payments for fiscal year 23-24.
I'll second that.
All right, we have the motion and the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solosek?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
All right. Adopt Resolution 2023-33, Middle Iowa Watershed Management Authority Agreement. Emily, do you have anything you can share with us on this?
I'm Emily Herring. I'm the director with Marshall County Conservation. So there was a meeting back in May for the formation of the Middle Iowa River Watershed Management Authority. There's a map behind you all that shows the area that this watershed authority will cover. There are already 17 established throughout the state. And really what it is it's to get the communities to collaborate on a watershed management plan, and that's to adopt some conservation efforts to decrease flooding or some flooding mitigation, as well as improving water quality. And the main purpose for it all is, part of it is to be able to access federal and state funds to implement these projects. So they only have to actually have 2 of the communities to sign into the 28E agreement to be able to establish it, but their goal is to get 80%. So both the county of Marshall, as well as Marshalltown, will be asked to be a part of the agreement and a part of the watershed. And it's just, there's no cost to it. It's just forming an agreement that we will look to see ways of improving the Iowa River watershed.
Excellent.
Any other questions?
No. Thanks,
Awesome.
Emily.
Thank you very much, Emily.
Yep.
I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2023-0033 Middle Iowa Watershed Management Authority Agreement as presented.
And I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion on this item? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solosik?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
All right, number 20, adopt resolution 2023-34. It's a farm to market board application. Paul?
Thank you.
And this probably looks familiar because a couple weeks ago we did one just like this because I'm trying to get an agenda item on the Farm to Market Review Board. And when I turned in the application resolution, the Systems Planning Office, someone noticed they were looking at what we were gonna remove from the system. And if you look on the map, you can kind of see the, on that map, you can see the area in red right there. And on our FM map, if you look at the side without the red circle on it, you can see that piece in red is not shown on our map as being in the farm to market system. And it's a remnant of where Highway 30 ran before the bypass happened. And on our map, it just wasn't shown. Now, I don't have any record of it being removed from the farm to market system, but it wasn't on there. So our previous resolution didn't have that as being removed from the system because we didn't think it was in the system. Finding out that it is, and they wouldn't, the Farm to Market Review Board wouldn't want us to leave just an island of an FM road that's a quarter mile long that doesn't really have anything to do with continuity of the system. So they agreed that if I got this on this meeting, that I could still add this resolution to our previous agenda item just so that it's cleaned up from for the meeting of July 11th. So we'll still be able to get this dealt with on the meeting of July 11th with our previous resolution. So really what this is just kind of cleaning up a loose end that was discovered on the DOT end.
Seems simple enough.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Thanks for bringing this to us and doing a little cleanup here.
Yeah.
And hopefully it helps us out with our application on our changes that we want to make.
I'm hopeful, yes.
So you've been in communication with them. Has the feedback been favorable so far?
It was just
Oh,
bringing this up.
just
thinking
the
that
technicality of
if-
this.
If we didn't get this included, that we were gonna be at the December meeting just doing this.
Oh,
And so
okay.
they'd rather take care of all of it at once.
Okay.
And I'm hoping that, yeah, it helps our request because we are actually asking for more miles to be removed than we're asking to add.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like we're playing nice in the sandbox.
I think so.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. Any other further questions for Paul? We have a motion to adopt or approve, whatever it is.
All right, I'll make a motion then to adopt Resolution 2023-0034 Farm to Market Review Board Application Resolution. Authorize the chair to sign.
I'll second that.
All right, we have the motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Solosik?
Yes.
Hibbs?
Yes.
Thank you, Paul. Number 21, adopt resolution 2023-35, approving abatement of real estate taxes. This is, I think it's on the attachment, is where you have all the parcels on it. As this was presented to me from the county treasurer, that this was some errors within state credits on these particular parcels that for the tax real estate system, these need to be abated off to be accurate moving forward. Is that correct? Anything else to add? Any questions for Deanne on this?
Okay. I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 2023-0035, approving abatement of real estate taxes as presented by the treasurer.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Kyle?
Yes.
Scholastic?
Yes.
Hood?
Yes.
All right. Now on to public forum. Time set aside for public to make comments on topics of county business other than those listed on the agenda today. No action will be taken on any of these topics.
The only thing I want to mention is that we are gonna run another claim set before the end of the fiscal year, because there are some departments that didn't have their invoices on time to be paid this time, so we're gonna run another set of claims in case any departments wants to pay anything before the end of the fiscal year.
So before July 1st.
June 30th. June 30th will be the last day to.
Yeah.
And then will
But
you just need
it's, we're gonna,
signatures
we're
from
gonna
us?
try, yes,
Yeah.
that's why we're gonna do another claim set so that we get your signatures approving the payment.
Okay.
We are probably gonna do it sometime the beginning of next week, Tuesday or Wednesday, to be the last day or actually to make the payments, one of those 2 days.
So what's the deadline for department heads to submit?
To submit them, if we pay them on Wednesday, they can be submitted on Tuesday morning if they have to. I mean, this is
Or
just a few-
before, yeah.
Or before, yeah.
Before preferably.
Yes.
Thank you, Maria. Any other public comment from anyone today?
I just wanted to mention, Nan wanted me to mention, I have been monitoring the parking lot. I have a list of everybody's plates, who has a permit. We are getting several, I would say 8 to 10 repeats. I've probably tagged those at least 4 times. I do put the notice. They did write me a little love note, said it's not July 1st yet. So I wrote one back, said it's still permit parking only, but the towing will begin. So on the July 1st. I think they are just kind of taking advantage of it until that towing may happen on July 1st.
So that means next meeting, if we really want to tow, we got to make that decision at our next board meeting.
So
Or have a
they
special
know
before
they're
July
not supposed
1st.
to be parking there. I have
And these
talked
are
personally with some,
not employees.
they're DHS employees that don't have permits. I don't think any of them do. Zeno's employees, staff and owner, personally spoke with. He had mentioned he thought they had an agreement with the county that they can park there. I told him not anymore. So, but they still
Was that
continue
during,
to park.
when we were displaced post-tornadoes,
This is the
kind of
last week.
was that kind of the agreement
Oh.
they thought they had, or was that
He
something
did not tell
pre-tornado?
me, he did not tell me.
Okay.
Is there not room for DHS?
They are allowed, they do get 4 temp permits
Okay.
for, like, transporting or, goods to clients, using for their, they know this. Bridget, she had told Lucas and Nan that they do not need parking spots there. I don't know if there's actually really room, because I know when I've gone to lunch, come back, I've had to park another place. And I shouldn't have to, but it's not that big of a deal, but it could be.
Well, at the same time, I know that there's the concern of then if that lot's full, then we have employees parking on street spots that are in front of businesses for the remainder of the day, and that's creates an inconvenience for them as well. So we want to make sure that our people aren't impeding business, and so that's why it's important that our parking situation is as taken care of it as we can to just prevent from it to snowball into another issue.
Is there anyone parking in the gravel area that we reclaimed, the building that we raised?
I've only noticed the real estate, 5-star or whatever, but, or whatever it is.
Can
But
they
They
park-
have permission, I believe.
Yeah.
Park in that gravel.
Lucas Badke, Buildings and Grounds. I told Kurt Polly that, you know, he could park some of his vehicles over there, as it's not really heavily used right now. We just kind of have our random trailers there where our shop used to be. I know there is some interest from the Pollys to buy that lot. I don't know how we want to handle that, but if we find that we have more need for parking, that is the closest adjacent option for us. So we have the possibility to expand parking a little bit in that space if we decide that.
Is that 4 cars wide, possibly?
Probably more, maybe 6. I want to say that building was 30 by 45. Those are kind of our options there.
I would like for a future agenda item to be the discussion of that property. Kurt Polly reached out to me about the possibility of purchasing it, and so we just need to discuss at that point in time whether that's something that we want to, we're interested in selling, or if it's something we want to have for, whether it be location for snow removal, parking, or whatever we see fit for us. So, but I think it's something we want to discuss in the future.
Okay.
Other public comment? Awesome. All right, hearing none, on to adjournment. Next regular session is Wednesday, July 5th, 9 a.m. here at first floor meeting room at the courthouse. All business to be acted upon that session should be submitted to the auditor recorder's office or the board of supervisors office by Wednesday, June 28th at noon. There being no further business to come before the board, the meeting is adjourned at 10:37 a.m. Thank you very much.